Saibona, Dumela, good evening, hello. Yeah, like so often in the past, I'm on my way to Parliament. Do you know the opening of Parliament was always the most exciting occasion on the calendar? The parliamentary wives all dressed to kill, and their husbands, the ministers, all ready to kill. But this is different. Now we are in a new South Africa. This is a new Parliament. We have a new speaker, not a Mr. Speaker, but a Madam Speaker. Yes, I'm going to visit Dr. Frene Ginwala.
Evita, how nice to see you. Welcome to this new Parliament.
Thank you, my dear Madam Speaker. I'm so happy to see you in your wonderful domain.
Welcome to the new South Africa.
The last time we spoke, you wanted to invite me to join the
Women's National Coalition.
And how did it go with? Because I couldn't join you now.
Yes, but I think in your way you have become the ambassador for women.
Thank you, my dear. I had to switch off the lights in the Funigalore monument before.
Well, they're off now, and now we walk into a new South Africa. Welcome.
Thank you. Oh, you caused such a remorse in the caucus when you called me Puck's pretty puppet.
Yes, well, I think I had some justification on all three grounds.
Well, Puck agrees.
Well, I'm glad he does agree.
I'm back. Ach, Dr. Verwoerd, advocaat strijd om Dr. Milan. Meneer Foster, ik is terug. I'm back.
Are you happy to be back?
I'm so happy to be here again. I haven't been here for some time.
When were you last here?
Well, the first time I came here was in 1959 as the wife of an MP. And then, of course, my husband, Omhasi, became Minister of Waterworks and Black Housing.
But he didn't build any houses, did he, for blacks?
Not for blacks, but for us. We had a house in Pretoria, a house in Cape Town, one in Bloemfontein, and a little house in France.
And you lived in all of them?
Well, not at the same time. And when did you arrive here? Now, 19...
In April or May of 1994.
Well, I have so much to show you about this place. You know, there was a place where P.V. Boerta and I used to eat jelly babies. Frene, my dear, can I pour you some tea?
Please, I like some with milk, please.
Some milk? Ek sal melk eers insit. Do you know?
That's fine.
I'm so glad I'm wearing the gloves because I remember how terribly hot these silver teapots were in the old days. They're real silver, you know. If you run out of money, you can always sell the silver here in Parliament.
That's a good idea. You know, Parliament needs more money. So.
Always. In those cook sisters, Frene, I had them specially made for you. Do you help yourself?
Oh, they're nice.
Yeah.
Do you like them?
Oh, not really, but I mean, it's part of my trademark cook sisters. I can't eat these things anymore now that we have to stay nice and slim in the new South Africa.
Yes, but we have to introduce new types of food as well.
What do you have here on the menu of Parliament? Do you have putu-pap now?
Not quite yet, but we're going to. We're going to make everything in South African.
So there are all sorts of lovely ethnic things as well?
Yes, well, next time you come, I'm going to give you samosas.
Oh, alsjeblieft.
And then, of course, fat cakes.
Yeah.
And we've got to have a variety of
In
things.
cook sisters, natuurlijk still.
No, we'll still have them because lots of people like them.
Very traditional. There's a wonderful dining room. There are so many memories here as well. I see the famous picture of painting of Dr. Verwoerd in front of the cabinet, pointing at the map of South Africa, showing where my homeland of Babetikosuiti eventually...
Is that what he's doing? I've often wondered what he was doing up there.
Die arme Hendrik Verwoerd, waar is hy nou? Do you know, I remember also being here when Macmillan did his Wind of Change speech.
Yes, but I wonder if he ever imagined how long the wind would take, and when it came, what it would blow away.
Now, did you ever think you would be sitting here?
No, not really.
No.
I suppose in some kind of way I thought I was coming back, but not into Parliament.
And did you ever think you'd come into Parliament as a speaker, the most important person here?
No, never.
No.
I never imagined that. I was too much of an activist to see myself as sitting above the fray, as it were.
I remember reading somewhere that you said when you were appointed as speaker, you suddenly thought they're trying to silence you, shunt you off into a little corner so that you would not be allowed opinion. Is that true?
When I first saw the rumors, and then I realized because I first read about it in the newspapers,
Yeah.
and then when I realized it was a bit more serious, I did go to one of my colleagues and accuse him, actually, of trying to shut me up.
What are your aims now here with this new Parliament in this new South Africa?
Once I became speaker, of course, I began to realize that Parliament itself needed to be democratized. It needed to be opened up, that democracy meant something more than going and casting a vote once in 5 years and then everybody being out of the picture. And so part of what we're doing is to bring the people into Parliament, take Parliament to the people, open it up generally. It's already done that, when you consider how many blacks and women are in Parliament.
Are there enough women in Parliament?
No,
Frene?
never. Well, not until at least women are in the majority.
53% of
the
our people are
population.
women.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we've made a tremendous stride. I mean, South Africa was, I don't know, 120-something in the world in terms of the women in Parliament. Now we've suddenly moved into the 20s. So we're progressing. And if we move at that rate, by the time we get the next Parliament, we'll have the majority of MPs will be women.
Well, you know, when I was here for all these years, I was one of the few Afrikaner women associated with politics, because, of course, we never really allowed our women a voice in the political structure.
But are you planning maybe to stand in the next elections?
Ek weet nie, Frene. You know, all sorts of things are being spoken about. Me leading the National Party.
I've heard that one.
You've heard that. Well, I think it's important that that the National Party also shows a very optimistic front and, of course, a new South African front.
Yes, but how do you manage to be a member of the National Party and of the ANC Women's League?
I'm an interim member of the National Party and a transitional member of the ANC Women's League, because we are all transitional at the moment with a transitional parliament and constitution. So in fact, after 2000, this country will really be sorted out. Is that what everyone is planning?
Yes, I think so. So you're sort of saying with a government of national unity, we need a party of national unity.
Natuurlijk.
And then we'll have a fight over in the next elections.
We will not have a fight, we'll have an argument, and may the best man or woman win.
The best woman will win.
You've changed quite a lot of the attitudes here in Parliament already with dress and with addressing people. Do they still say honourable member as we used to do?
Yes, we still do to some extent. But if they say comrade member, we don't stop it. Or if they say...
Scotty?
Well, they haven't done it yet, but I don't think I'd rule it out of order.
Play.
One of the nice things we've done is you had to have a suit and a tie to be in the public gallery or dressed up. And I'm not sure, they didn't have a formal dress code for women, but obviously I think they had to be dressing something like you.
Absolutely.
But we've changed that, and one of the big problems we've got to sort out is now we've got a whole lot of ties up there, because when somebody arrived without a tie, they were given one.
Yes.
And we really have to have a major discussion to decide what we're going to do with those ties.
You can have a garage sale.
Yeah, that's an idea. Maybe we should auction them and sort of add more to the Parliament's treasury.
So ideally, what would you like me to wear for your new South African
Well, what
Parliament?
I think we really need to bring you into the new South Africa physically.
Yeah?
For instance, we're a multicultural society, and yet you always dress, I don't know, Afrikaan Grand Dame?
Well, this is original Chris Levine. People kill each other to get hold of something like this, but I'm sure that Chris is the first person to agree that I must adapt and not have to diet.
That's a very good, but adapt you will.
Ja, ek is so baie opgewonde. O, my tee is afgekoud. Gesondheid, skat.
Okay, hold that for me there, please.
Yeah.
Now we've got to take this back. Bring it up
Around.
over your shoulder,
Oh, this shoulder here.
over
yeah.
this shoulder.
Yeah. And now what I'm holding
Just
here?
hold there. I'll take that from you in a minute, because I've got to pleat it.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll get
Oh,
a lot of pleat.
yeah. Now, what's the pleats do?
They give you movement. They give you freedom. You can actually jive in this if you want.
Oh, what
You
bedoel
can do the toy in this.
Liewe aarde, and I'm practicing so hard. That's very nice. And that
Tuck it in
also...
there. Put your holder there.
Right. And-
Then we've got to adjust this.
Oh, that's
We
very
bring
pretty.
that up.
What a beautiful
that.
sari.
It is a very nice one. Trouble is, we need something to hold up there. You got something?
Wag 'n bietjie, ek dink daar is little... Oh, yes, of course, there's a
Oh,
little...
that's nice.
I had this in
What
the...
is that?
This is die krokodil. It's an in-joke, but you must remember, I am very faithful to my old friends. Daar is dit.
Now,
Daar
let's have a look at you.
What do
There's
you think?
something
What do you
missing.
think, huh?
I know. We need a red dot. I need kuku.
Oh,
I haven't got
okay.
any.
No,
Have
no,
you
no.
got? You got some lipstick?
Lipstick.
Right. Great.
Daar's hy.
Let's put that on you. There you are. Now have a look. Don't you look beautiful?
Wonderful.
Now you're ready for the new South Africa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Oh, Frene, these Houses of Parliament have such wonderful histories attached to them.
Probably memories for you.
Memories for me, absolutely. And this is a very big memory. P.J. Foster.
Yes.
Yes, he was a very cross Prime Minister and he was a State President. I used to do his feet.
What did you do to his feet?
Well, he had terrible blood circulation. I used to do his feet. He had blood circulation which was bad in his brain, but I didn't go there.
You didn't do anything about that?
No. John Foster. And of course, this is the architect of apartheid, Hendrik Verwoerd, who was a Dutchman, came all the way to South Africa with all the worst ideas from Europe, no?
And he created the Bantustans?
Well, if he didn't, I wouldn't have had such a nice job as ambassador.
As ambassador.
Anyway, let sleeping dogs lie. And Hudson, wie's dit?
This is Stratham. He became Prime Minister later, but he was once Minister of Justice and brought a sjambok into Parliament and threw it down to show he was really tough.
To show the United Party opposition?
No, obviously to the blacks, that he was going to control the blacks.
And the blacks weren't even in Parliament to see it?
We weren't in Parliament at that point.
Typisch Afrikaner, eien. Oh, Frene, there are so many wonderful books in this parliamentary library. This one, I remember, caused such a fuss when it came out.
Yes, but what's interesting about it, of course, it says South African genealogies, but there are no blacks in it because it only refers to South Africans, meaning the Afrikaner population.
The Afrikaner population that had black blood in their veins. Oh, people jumped off buildings. Of course, nowadays you must have black blood in your veins in order to get into politics.
Not really. We're trying to move to a broader perspective.
Oh, so people like the Bezuidenhouts who are completely pure have got a chance in the future.
Yes, of course. We'll look forward to you actually becoming a member here.
Thank you. When did you leave South Africa? It was 30 years ago, wasn't it?
Well, longer now. It was on the 22nd of March, 1960.
And that
the day
was
after Sharpeville.
The day after Sharpeville. And you went where?
Well, from South Africa, I went to Mozambique because my parents were living there, and I was sort of sitting out there waiting to see what was happening. Then, of course, we had the state of emergency, the banning of the ANC. And so from there, my job had been to try and help get some of the leadership out of the country. So with the state of emergency, it became more important.
And they actually called you, what was the ANC's travel agent? What did that mean?
Well, in a sense, basically, that's what I was doing in Dar es Salaam, arranging for people who were coming out and going back into the country, because we were not given passports, so we had to do it all illegally.
Cape Town. Do you know Cape Town well?
No, do you know, when I left the country in 1960, because I'm of Indian origin, I needed a permit to come to the Cape, because I was born in the Transvaal, and my right to live in South Africa was restricted to the Transvaal. If I wanted to go anywhere else, I needed a permit. Of course, in the Orange Free State, Indians could only stay for 72 hours.
Yeah.
So I did actually come to Cape Town in March, just before I left South Africa. But I came in without a permit.
Illegal?
Illegal, but it was, I suppose, reasonably normal. But I didn't go sightseeing for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So it was only, again, that was a new thing, coming to Cape Town, seeing what a beautiful place it was.
It is.
But that was something totally new. I traveled the world, but I hadn't seen my own country.
Aye, Frene. And now there's talk that you might have to move Parliament to the Transvaal. What is all this nonsense going on?
Well, they're saying that, but you know, you must realize that South Africa, we've got a strange history. I think we're the only country in the world with 3 capitals. We've got a judicial capital in Bloemfontein, the executive in Pretoria, and the legislature here. Now, that came out of a settlement in the Boer War.
Yeah.
So it comes out of a different history. But I think what we've got to look at is whether it's practical.
Well, maybe they should just take Pretoria and bring it down to Cape Town.
And that's a good idea. Then we'll have the views and we'll have everything meeting together.
This absolute wonderlijk. Are you still the optimist that you've always been?
Yes, I think I am an optimist. But now with it comes a slight sense of fulfillment, a slight sense of satisfaction. Perhaps it came home to me most when the day we were all sworn in Parliament. And I just happened to be sitting in a position where I could see the different groups come up as they were being sworn in. And of course, you saw the old picture, the men, white men coming in as a group. They were coming up in tens. But other political parties, you saw their delegations. And suddenly sitting back, you saw women, you saw people of every hue, all the politics. Some of them I knew they were domestic workers. Some were factory workers. Some were lawyers, doctors. So we had all of South Africa there. And that made me really feel good. I thought, we're here.
Yeah.
This is a new change.
So this is it.
Evita, this is it.
The National Assembly.
National Assembly, 400 elected members sit around here.
And coming in here, is this where the
is
President and you come down?
We come down here. The Sergeant-at-Arms leads the way with the mace over his shoulder.
Natuurlijk, ja.
And if we have visiting heads of state, they come in the procession as well.
And do the people bow like we used to do in the old South Africa? Do they bow
they
to the
acknowledge when they move. They acknowledge the chair. It's really just a nod of the head.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah. So
and I'm supposed to notice and nod back. But they do it anyway, whether you notice or not.
And here, what is this area here?
This, in the normal National Assembly, this, of course, divides the parties. You have the government party there, you have the opposition party there.
Oh, I see.
And this line here, you're not supposed to cross it, because that means you're crossing over from one party to another.
So I am standing in no man's land at the moment.
Exactly.
Or
no person's land in this
no
new South
person's
Africa.
land, no party. Oh, how exciting. This is wonderful.
So you're astride all political parties.
Absolute, absolute. So this is the throne. This is where you
sit. You look down on the whole house.
You are the queen of the castle here, Frene?
Well, the presiding officer. I don't want any royal presumptions.
Do you find, I remember in the old days, Puk Botha used to be very naughty, used to fold paper aeroplanes and throw them across at Andries Treurnig.
Oh, we'd never allow that.
You wouldn't, so do you also have to be a bit of a referee?
I'm supposed to be. So far they haven't tried me, but I'm practicing in private as to how to control the place.
And how do members of parliament actually behave in your presence? Is it like school children with a headmistress?
No. I think we're getting out of a very formal stage into something much more personal. Now they're barracking each other. They're sort of, you hear hoors from the ANC benches. You occasionally even hear applause from the National Party benches. So I think they're just fitting in now into this new atmosphere.
But no toy-toying?
So far not. But I have a nightmare. I want to share it with you. Can you imagine, we now have 11 official languages. I think we're the only parliament in the world.
Yeah. And
my nightmare is that they're going to have a row in 11 languages. And I just don't know how I'm going to go.
You must get your big gavel and you must make a big
I don't have a gavel.
Liewe aarde Frene, hoe gaan jy vir hulle stop? I'd like to ask you a favor. Do you think I could sit in your chair?
Yeah, sure, come and practice.
I think so.
Maybe you'll end up here after the next election.
Liewe aarde. Well, I will invite you to tea on that very, very first day. There we are. Now, do I sit in the chair?
You can slide your chair forward.
Ek voel wonderlik. Nee, julle moet nou stil bly.
That's right.
And these lovely little bare buttons here?
Well, you have a button here which you can call a service officer if you have a message. So you don't throw the little paper aeroplanes, you can send the message around.
And if it gets very boring, can I watch Loving?
Well, these are screens. You're supposed to watch the house. You're not supposed to watch on TV. You can actually override the microphones and switch them off. And a very loud voice can come on from there.
To think that a mere woman has so much power over all those men.
Do you mean a mere woman?
Me?
At last, women are where they belong.
I think you're absolutely right. If I think of what the angels on those clouds are saying now, looking at us today.
Saying, at last, it's happening.
It's happening, Frene. Ach, in the old days, not so long ago, we used to say, it's a man's world, but only through the eyes of a woman. What is the National Women's Coalition doing at this moment?
Well, we've drafted a charter now of women's equality. That is being presented to Parliament, to the Constituent Assembly. And it's, if you like, a blueprint of the kind of changes women in South Africa want. And it's there for education, it's there for making policy. It's there to tell women that what they're asking for, everyone shares with them. Yeah. So it's a confidence-building thing as well.
So do you think we can also expect affirmative action for women?
There must be. There must be affirmative action for all South Africans. And women are the most disadvantaged, so it has to happen. Because you can't talk about democracy and say it represents the people when the people are not there. Just as you couldn't say it was democratic if blacks were not there. Similarly, you can't say it's democratic if women are not there.
Yeah. Have you tried any affirmative action here in Parliament?
Not yet. I am a bit concerned because some of the parties are not putting women forward. for the committees and so on. Other parties are much better. But I think it's partly an education process. Parties have to do it.
Yeah.
It's very difficult for the speaker to do that, because I'm not supposed to actually interfere in the political process.
Well, I wanted to bring my little grandchildren, and I didn't know where to put them.
You can do that now, because do you know we're one of the few parliaments in the world that actually has a creche.
That is so inspiring, and I know that so many people watching us are inspired and thrilled to have you here in this very important
Well, I hope
job.
more women will be inspired to come here.
I hope so too.
And I hope you're setting the example for us, Evita.
Thank you, my Scott. I have a present for you. I've got
Oh.
something special here. No. It's not a bribe. It is only a gift to a friend.
Sure, it's not a bribe. You know, in this parliament, we don't bribe
I
politicians.
have to be very careful to say it is not a bribe.
Can
So
I
if
open it?
You can indeed.
Will it blow up?
I hope not.
Oh.
There are two little candles.
If I light those candles, am I celebrating or burning the place down?
That you will have to decide democratically for yourself. When the lights go out in Parliament, then you can always light your two candles.
It's lovely.
And every time you
really
light them, you can think of me.
I will do that, I promise you, because you did say you were going to switch off the lights on the Voortrekker.
Well, I'll leave the candles to you.
Leave the candles to me.
My
That's great. It's
dear
been great
friend.
having you here.
Thank you for being such a wonderful hostess to all of us. I wish you all the best, and as we say in South Africa, Amandla Vrystaat.
Amanda.
Once upon a time, not so long ago, there was a Boere Olympus on which the Boere gods played while the frightened people watched from afar. But now, the gods have become the people, and our parliament is no longer the playground for tin pot dictators. It is a parliament for the people. You are the people. I am Evita Bezuidenhout. Oh, liever aarde, I still have the little tomato pip between my eyes. I'll keep it as a souvenir. Swinky.